Here with us, taking a look at the biggest stories, and of course that 16-hour hostage crisis in the Australian city of Sydney is the top story today. Now, this was extremely unusual because throughout the situation, the hostages were tweeting, they were calling radio stations, all of this they were told to do by the hostage taker. He was trying to get his message out. This has never been seen before, I believe.
Extraordinary, really, to see it unfold and to see the police trying to manage what was an extremely difficult situation in terms of the communications aspect of things. Images pouring out on social media of the events as they unfolded in that cafe.
That's the iconic photo, isn't it?
That's right. It's really the one that's got, I think, most attention. This was one of the first hostages to escape, and she ran into the arms of the police. And it really captures, I think, the panic of the moment. And people were following it on social media, on rolling news channels as it was happening. It really it had a very almost a cinematic quality to it, which might sound insensitive, but it's just the truth. And you can see it coming through on under hashtag Sydney Siege, which grouped together an awful lot of the comments. Reading live tweets about the Sydney Siege is actually giving me anxiety, said one Twitter user. The fact that it's live sends chills down my spine. And I actually saw a number of tweets, Laura, saying this is sending chills down my spine.
Media outlets, we were being told by police not to report any of these messages while the hostage crisis was going on, because this was playing into the hands, of course, of the gunmen.
That's right, and indeed there was one YouTube video that I spotted coming up under hashtag Sydney Siege, and I refreshed the page just 10 minutes later and it was already taken down. So YouTube must have been either moderating themselves and deciding that this was material that wasn't appropriate for their platform, or more likely, I'm sure the New South Wales police were getting onto them saying, look, take this material down, this is playing into the propaganda. These were videos which, under the pressure of the hostage taker, some of the hostages were actually giving his demands across these videos. In any case, you can see here a headline in the International Business Times: police urge media blackout as hostages post gunman's demands on social media. And in fact, though that request was picked up by a lot of Twitter users, but of course it's arbitrary. Some people will listen to it, others will say, you know, I'm just going to share this video that I came across anyways. But there was that pressure on social media to not share material that was coming out from within the cafe, so as not to get in the way of the police effort to manage this situation.
It's quite frightening now, the way that these social media platforms are used by terrorists and jihadis.
It's changing the game.
But look, I mean, people saw that black flag unfurled early on in the day. People thought this was the work of the Islamic State group. There's a lot of fear about that group in Western countries at the moment. On a positive note, the Grand Mufti of Australia, I believe, came out quite early saying you know, we condemn this. This is not, this person is not a Muslim. This is not done in our name. And there has been quite a lot of solidarity with Muslims around the world on Twitter today.
There was one pray. Often you'll see this when there are tragic events. If I could try to find the tweet in question, pray for Sydney, and you have cross-community displays of support. So I think that was, a lot of people were very heartened by that clearly this guy's intention was to create panic, fear, etc., and that people weren't necessarily responding in that way, even if there were real concerns for the safety of the people in the cafe. So there was one incident that it became the most shared, or the top trending hashtag in the world at one point today, and it started with a journalist spotting an Australian Muslim woman who was taking off her scarf, her headscarf, perhaps for fear of being associated with the events in this cafe. And she said she relayed this event, and others reacted to it saying, well, if this person is afraid to travel in train stations, it was in a public transport hub, then I'll ride with you, which subsequently became a hashtag which went completely viral. A lot of people taking the opportunity to say we are not going to fall into the trap of making sweeping generalizations.
And just briefly, not everybody being so tolerant.
No, I mean, I think that was a response actually to a lot of people expressing fear, upset, anger, anti-immigration statements, and perhaps some of that you know, linked to the shock of the moment. But one incident that got a lot of people criticising was you know, if you had this display of human decency coming across intolerant statements or whatever, others were taking selfies, Laura, outside the cafe, which I think is just really... When are people going to learn that it's, even at the best of times, it's in bad taste, never mind when
slightly inappropriate, isn't it? All right, James, thank you very much indeed. James Creedon there with Media Watch. Now,